Hello. We are live for the Green Umbrella Live Lunch. We are here on, where are we today? We're on the Green Umbrella Facebook. We are on my LinkedIn profile, and we're also live on YouTube. Not that I think anyone really watches over there anyway, but hey, you know, it's a button we can press, so we do it anyway. It is, like I say, Thursday, 12 o'clock. As always, we are hanging out doing the live lunch thing, and today we have a guest, a wonderful recruiter that we've known for many, many years, that's used us in like print and like social media advice and guidance, and just someone that's supported us for quite a while now. So we thought it was about time we brought you on the show. But Anthony, give us a little intro. Tell the world what it is you actually do.
Hi guys, hi y'all in the World Wide Web. Yeah, it's really great to kind of get together with the gang from Green Umbrella. I'm a big fan and a little bit of a fangirl like thing today. But yeah, my day job is as the MD of Macstaff that you kind of can see on the T-shirt there. I'm a specialist recruitment business owner for mostly construction, property, engineering, manufacturing type stuff. Yeah, author of Job Search, Job Done, which is more like a candidate match, career advice thing, and yeah.
That's you, that's your stuff. Awesome. So there's loads of things we could chat about. So we could talk about the book stuff, we can talk about, you know, recruitment within the construction industry and the effects of the last year and all that kind of stuff. We could talk about marketing things. And I think, Jane, you've got a little list of things that we thought we could kind of work through as we were chatting. But let's go with the marketing angle to start off with, because I think it's, obviously you're part of a massive network of recruiters, but essentially within your business, it's yourself and someone that gives you some marketing support as part of your team. So where have you found the biggest challenges? Because you've been doing this stuff for years now, and you're quite you stay quite ahead of the game, really. So.
Oh, good to hear. Yeah, I figured I was coming on as like the digital doofus, really, that would make everybody else feel better. But I try and kind of stay involved. It is difficult though, you know, one man show, recruitment business owner. I've been going for 5 years now, and it is a spinning plates thing, isn't it? So there's a couple of problems with the marketing side in that it's not my profession, is it? You know, I haven't got qualifications, like I've barely got skills in this area, but suddenly it's part of the job, isn't it? Like the accounting and whatever. And then there's the time and the juggle, isn't there? Because sales and operations is getting new clients, new jobs, new candidates, and making placements and things. So where do you plug the marketing in? So that's been an issue. And yeah, likes of Green Umbrella have been a godsend in terms of two-parter, isn't it? You teach people like through all this great kind of training and seminars how to do it themselves, like teach a man to fish, but you'll also kind of take it off us and kind of solve the whole problem on our behalf. I suppose that said, it can be a bit of a nightmare and an extra thing, but I love it as well. Like that's probably why you're saying I'd stay a little bit ahead, because that's a creative avenue, isn't it? I kind of like doing a Pick Monkey or a Magisto video, and it's just different. So yeah,
I think it's good. It's good to be creative, and it's good to like try and see what everyone's doing and try and do something different. And I know that like the conversations we've had previously, when you've looked at sort of how to market the book, we've looked at, we've had conversations about actually how do you build that funnel? How do you, after launching? I think probably when the book first came out, you probably did all the launch stuff, but it's like the post-launch. It's like how to keep those sales going, and I think that's where it gets really, really tough. You need to have a really strong funnel to be able to push people through to make it work.
And that's where I've got kind of challenges actually, and probably other people listening in do as well. It's like if I was kind of giving myself advice for 5 years ago, it's the things that you've told me, like have email lists, so you own your own data, be able to segment stuff. I can't even truly separate clients from candidates in terms of my my kind of marketing outreach, so that makes it difficult to tailor the message and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely some kind of technical and strategic kind of blunders that I've made, but yeah, I do like to create my own content and try and be that kind of thought leader. It's a matter of work out what you're going to say before you start amplifying it with a big microphone, though, isn't it? That's the kind of the double-edged sword of marketing, really.
Absolutely. So Paul's just asked a question in the chat over on Facebook. So he's obviously, so the book then, job search, job done. What was the catalyst? What was the thing that sort of made you decide to write that book?
Yeah, well, obviously as a recruiter, we give advice kind of mostly one-to-one, don't we, with candidates as we go through the process on everything from, CV and cover letter advice through creating a compelling CV, preparing for an interview, negotiating an offer, etc. And I've just also heard some really bad advice kind of being touted out there by, so-called gurus. And I thought I can do something better here and like put it all in one place. So it's a, one-stop shop success manual type thing, that a candidate can kind of either dip into, for each subject, or they can read kind of end to end as a preparation for their job search. And it's also kind of just efficient, isn't it? Kind of getting it out there. And it's obviously, we're in an insider conversation here. It's an expertise play, isn't it? It's going for the thought leadership, adding value, and trying to make myself known.
Absolutely. Chris Lambert, who is also a client, I might add, I feel like his price is about to go up because he's just said, you probably did it because I bullied you. I'd just like to say, I didn't know Anthony back then. Okay, so
yeah, true that. But
nothing to do with me.
I mean, there sometimes is some bullying, obviously, but it's like with the best intentions, I know.
So it comes from a place of love.
100%.
That's what I keep writing. It comes from a place of love. Okay, so Jane, did you have any questions for Anthony?
Well, as while we were talking about books, actually, was one of the questions we thought of was sort of what are your favourite business and marketing books that you've been sort of reading lately, and do you have any recommendations for others?
Yeah, you're going to go there then. Like, don't get me started on books. Like, how long have we got?
Green Umbrella Book Club.
You'll see me on social media, I guess, normally with kind of book in hand, saying this is my current read and whatnot. And I've committed to lifelong learning. And I think, from what I gather from reading, the gurus stuff, that, all the leaders, the successful people like that stand out in their field are all big bookworms. They say the successful people have a really small TV and a really big library, and the less successful people the other way around. So yeah, I'm always beaver in a way, and I've picked out a few that are not 100% marketing books, but I thought might be kind of pertinent to kind of what you guys might be interested in. Can I do a top 5?
Yeah.
So Dundee at number 5, Dundee's Perfect, like Neil Martin. I don't know whether you kind of know him. I've been to one of his kind of property kind of workshops as well, like in the Midlands. He's the juice junkie, so he kind of shot to fame as the guy making this kind of blender thing that helps you kind of cleanse and everything like that. So this is Secrets to Overcoming Procrastination and Getting Things Done. Just finished at number 4. I'm surrounded by idiots. I don't know whether you kind of know that, but I suppose the twist is, I've got 3 fingers pointing back at me. It's like maybe I'm the idiot, and this is about communication styles, which is, a marketing thing, basically, isn't it? It's like, how do I find the right tone of voice and engage with my audience, whoever they may be? And if they're blue people, they're very, like logical, kind of probably shy, those kind of people. But the reds are the hard charging, entrepreneurs and a little over blunt and things like that. Lots of diverse.
I'm definitely a blue person.
Yeah,
yeah,
because you're an analyst. But you're a green too, which means that you're the
No, I think Jane's like giggling because she's like, no, you're definitely the blunt one that races into everything. Yeah. So
clues in the like colour of your top there, is it, Christina? So number 3, like it's all talk of like diversity and inclusion and things like that, isn't there? So I've like picked up this one from Professor Jennifer Aberhart on kind of so that I can seek out my own kind of blind spots basically, and trying to overcome unconscious bias. That's good.
Now that's really interesting from the marketing perspective, because there's so much in language that actually feeds into that unconscious bias, and when you start looking into it, it's like, I'm afraid to speak anymore.
Yeah.
It's I'm like, I'd have always said like, hi guys, and now I'm like, no, it's got to be hi gang. Or, it's like, what word can I use instead of...
Yeah, his guys are gender specific.
That's it. And it's like, you don't think that way. But actually, sometimes when you start to look at what you're putting out there, I remember, it's a shame Amanda's not on today. So I'd written a bio for myself. And like Amanda, like she proofreads a load, as so does Jane as well, but she proofreads a load of stuff. And I'd put something about... working with independent recruiters so they can stand shoulder to shoulder with the big guys, meaning like the Hayes, for example, and, all that kind of thing. And Amanda's like, big red line through the word guys. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and there's tactics in the way that we copyright our adverts, isn't there? Sometimes it's, attractive kind of words to the male audience, and sometimes to the female. Like, so there's packages, isn't there? You can put it in, and it'll tell you kind of which way it's slanting and suggest some alternatives.
Yeah.
But I suppose being controversial on that, it's in the engineering recruitment world, if we end up writing an advert that kind of appeals to females, and that's not most of the audience, it's still really, really useful, because that's a good sellable candidate that's going to stand out on the shortlist. So do you go for the male side, which is the bulk, or do you go for the female side, which is the kind of the niche and potentially sellable candidate? So pros and cons.
Yeah, really tricky. So what's the next book? I interrupted you, sorry.
Yeah, for flow. So like these weren't in the correct stack order, but so this is at number 2, the way they've kind of popped up. Don't know whether you know this guy. He's kind of local to me, Rob Law from the Bristol area. He's the founder of Trunky, and really nice kind of overcome adversity type story. The 65 roses in a trunky. He's got cystic fibrosis, and when he was young, he thought that his mum was saying 65 roses. So kind of sweet. He was kind of nailed, I think, in the Dragon's Den, and Theo like pulled the strap off his trunky, and they kind of all thought his company was a big joke. And obviously he's had the last laugh. Really, really successful business owner there. And last one, it's kind of a go together with this one, isn't it? Like, find your why. That's been kind of really interesting. That's a journey. Like, I'm obviously still on that, but this is like the how to the find your why kind of what. Basically, it's like how to kind of go through the process of identifying your own, and how to go forward.
Do you know, that's one book I rarely buy the physical book, because I normally listen to them, and that's probably the only business book that I've bought, because like I buy it and then I end up giving it away to someone, or when you lend it and you never get it back. And it's like, everyone talks about Simon Sinek, everyone talks about Start With Why, but people very, very rarely talk about the follow-up, which is Find Your Why. And actually it's because it's practical. It's like, okay, we've read about it, we know it now, let's actually do it.
Yeah, Start With Why was like the seminal book for that, wasn't it? I don't know whether you know James Bolly. He runs a company called Purposeful. Like, I really liked a seminar that I went to of his, and that, similar thing about how to identify and kind of leverage your purpose as a business. Like, I've been playing with it in terms of myself and Macstaff as well, and I'm kind of working with courage, creativity, and compassion to move people to a brighter future worldwide. So. Yeah, sure. The transaction is quite often the placement and things like that, but the mission, the purpose, like, is to move people to a brighter future.
Awesome. That's so cool. We've got a question in from Paul. So I know Paul he's read loads of business books as well, and I think he's part of like a business book club. And he's asked, when you're reading all these books, do you find that there's a lot of similarity and repetition?
I guess to a certain extent, so it's like yes and no. It depends which ones you pick up, doesn't it? Probably with regard to the strategy, books, there's kind of going to be a lot of overlap, isn't there? And I find those a bit dry, actually. Like I'm more into the kind of the personal development type, like a bit more holistic type books. I guess all of the the business books are kind of coming down from that Stephen Covey kind of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and the Dale Carnegie. It's how to make friends and influence people, I think, isn't it? They've kind of, it's all cascaded down from there. But I'm more of like a Tony Robbins and kind of lately Robin Sharma type guy as well. Like I found that Tony Robbins, like, and I love it, like he's the rah-rah guy, isn't he? But it's a little one-dimensional, like on mindset. Robin Sharma, kind of a bit more holistic in that he's got his 4 interior empires. So yeah, sure, there's mindset, but then there's heart set, health set, and soul set as well. And that allows you to juggle those plates of the different kind of aspects of your being, I suppose, in order to be able to keep going for the long term.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of repetition. However, I think that from a marketing perspective, you need to hear a message X number of times for you to receive it. So actually, to hear that message from multiple people and multiple voices, it's like, sometimes we need to hear this stuff again and again. And it's like when you actually hear it, it is like you've heard it for the first time. When, like I say, I don't, in fact, it's not even here. I wonder where, it's at home. There's a book called The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. That's my absolute favourite book from a business perspective. It's like every chapter is almost like a little story in itself. And yes, a lot of it is stuff you can read in other books, but the fact that it's all in one, the way it's delivered, it's like if I'm, if I'm frustrated by something that's going on and I like really want to focus on that, I can just go and reread that one chapter. And it's like it's become a Bible, but it's something. I can't remember how the question's posed, but like the very first page, it's like if you think about all the mistakes you've made and the money you've lost because of those mistakes, like just add that up for a minute, and you're like, oh God. But then it goes through all this stuff, and it's quite a powerful book. I think anyway. And when you listen to the audio, it's really funny because at the end of each chapter, it's like, so I'll put it on a bumper sticker for you. And it's like, you just listen to this chapter and then you get it in like one sentence. But yeah, no, I like that book.
In terms of a specific marketing book as well, because that was, I suppose, your question, wasn't it? Like, the Gary Vaynerchuk guy, don't you? So I had his book, I think it's Jab, Jab, Hook or something like that. Jab, right hook. Yeah, so I mean that was cool. Although what I thought is that kind of his stuff and some of this marketing type content, it's kind of better in a not traditional book format, isn't it? Like I'd almost kind of prefer to kind of listen to him on a podcast or read some blogs and things like that because it's more kind of seems to fit the purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay, Mark, you're sitting there very quiet. Are we sending you to sleep because you're not a big reader, are you?
No, even back in my learning days, I'd much rather look at the pretty pictures, which is what I do now. So that's my thing. So yeah, I would always watch a video rather than read something if I was learning. So, but there you go. But anyway, I always think, well, me and Jane were talking about something yesterday that actually, I'm going to lower the tone totally, by the way, here. So this wasn't on the agenda. Me and Jane were talking about something yesterday, and basically it's made me think about it now. Anthony is actually a one-off in terms of Green Umbrella clients and marketing because he is the only client that has ever appeared on the cover of his own version of the social snippet. So I don't know.
This live lunch could be the only thing that might eclipse that moment.
Yeah, maybe. So
of course I have it because I've taken a
have you got it? Oh, okay, cool.
Like cover cover girl and cover page like that, hadn't I? And I'd turned it into like a
Yeah.
monstrosity. And thanks for that. Yeah, that's on my bedroom wall.
I'd got it ready to go as well, but at least you'd got it there. So yeah, that's my contribution really. That's me and Anthony working in synergy. You see.
Amazing.
That was your masterstroke, was it? I don't know. It just appeared in the post, didn't it? And I was like, wow.
Yeah. But it obviously worked. You know, from our point of view, it worked because we used to do a thing where we used to get people to take a photo with the social snippet. But obviously you took it the one step further there, which is obviously brilliant. So not only holding the social snippet, but being the social snippet. So, you know, if anyone else that gets a social snippet and wants to try and usurp Anthony there by going one step further somehow, then that's maybe a challenge that we need to get out there. Or Anthony, you can go again. You know,
down. It's great to get the social snippet in the post though. I forget whether it's monthly or quarterly, but I always straight to it at home and have a browse over lunch. And that's the thing about print, isn't it? It's kind of like tactile. It's kind of different, and I'm sure that's why that you continue with it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's something a bit different, especially. I mean, we did have to stop it for a couple of months during the lockdown because it just wasn't practical for us to be able to send it. But it's one of those things where not everyone does send print through the post now. So hopefully it does sort of stand out when people get it, especially if they're a new client and things like that. And obviously adding some value. But yeah, from our point of view, it definitely works. So, but I mean, generally, obviously we've worked on some print for you, Anthony. And is there anything in particular you think is still important? I know we've spoke about it in the last few weeks about some of my opinions on certain things, and we spoke about business cards and things. Is there anything that you think is still sort of important in the print world?
Yeah, I always get you guys to do my business cards, don't I? So, and this kind of differentiates a little bit in that it's like portrait rather than landscape, isn't it? And I was like, is that okay? And you were like, yeah. And, we're getting, marketing advice, obviously, as well as business cards, aren't we? So like two-sided. And, we were joking beforehand, weren't we? Kind of like nearly running out, but I've got a massive box as well because we haven't been going out. Yeah. But, we are soon.
That's it. In a few weeks.
Team's got in-person meetings back on, and we've talked about this, haven't we? We'll all be at the Rec Expo NEC beginning of October as well. So I'll go tooled up with all the business cards again. And other things in terms of print as well. I guess you guys do like the banners, don't you? Great new one behind Christina, I think. Is that for the show or?
That's for Rec Expo. We probably should have kept it under wraps, but I love it. I really love it. It's like.
And what I'd seen from everybody on their Zoom calls or whatever is that the digital backgrounds, they're so temperamental, aren't they? Easy to mess up, and like people are swimming around in their kind of background, aren't they? And you're probably best to just get like a hard copy banner, so to speak, and you can pop it behind you and like take it to to events and things like that.
Yeah, I mean that's what my last couple of weeks has been, pretty much getting things ready, particularly for Rec Expo, but a few other obviously people are just getting out there, starting to do some in-person networking again. So yeah, it's been pretty busy for the last couple of weeks on that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not really a leaflets type guy actually. Like I guess that's good for like special offers and things like that. But you do those as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's for sort of one of the jobs I've been doing is for Rec Expo, where it's a specific competition for Rec Expo and stuff. So those guys will be going around the exhibition and sort of handing those out. So there's all sorts still going on. Obviously, the more we get out there again, the more it'll sort of come back, I think.
Yeah, I think there's been lots of conversation about the way that we've had to operate for the last 2 years now almost. It's like, well, people aren't going to want business cards anymore. They're not going to want this. They're not going to want that. Well, I was at an event last weekend, and it's like everyone I met was like, "Oh, let me give you have you got your card with you?" And you kind of like, we're still conditioned. It's like the unconscious bias stuff. If you want to give someone your details and you're face to face, you're still like that looking for your business card. So I think it's like, what's the phrase? Old habits die hard. I'm like, I always get phrases like that wrong. I'm like, I actually feel I just want a moment of congratulation right now. There, Kim's clapping from the other side of the desk. But yeah, I think that there are habits that are going to be hard to break.
There's apps, isn't there, on the phone, whereas you kind of scan somebody's business card and it adds it into your kind of directory and stuff. So you can probably kind of remind me about how those work. But the QR codes, I've always found that too awkward to be able to do quickly with somebody.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this, I can't remember, a couple of weeks ago maybe, but obviously QR codes now will sort of automatically scan, I think, both Android and Apple. So it is a lot easier now, and possibly because of the pandemic, people have been used to scanning things like in pub tables and things. So
it's a pain. It's a pain in the backside, though. So we're chatting, and we're interested in continuing the conversation. Let me just get my QR code for you, and it's like it's only a couple of clicks, but it's like when you're typing and someone's watching. Nobody can type in that situation.
No.
So yeah,
so it's just awkward.
Just
it spoils the eye contact, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think also when you reach into your pocket and you've got a bunch of business cards, even though they're going to end up in the bin, it's like it's because it's tangible. You feel like you have to do something with it. So obviously the strategies we then teach are make sure you're connected on LinkedIn, make sure it goes into your database, blah, blah, blah. And there's still the software available to feed, there's apps and things available to allow you to do that stuff. But I just think it's the tangibility of it, especially if you've got a nice card. Ours, they feel ours, when we have the soft touch ones, they feel nice, they feel quality. When we've got the ones with I can't remember what it's called, Mark, the shiny stuff. The Spot UV. Okay. It's like, it's pretty. People are like going, oh, look at that. Oh, there's something on the back there glistening in the light. But so people notice it. If it's a shitty paper thin thing, I swore on live lunch again. But you kind of go, oh.
Yeah, it's like a limp handshake.
That's it. So it's, don't get me wrong, you get these business cards that are like an inch thick because they've got like the coloured boarding sandwiched and all that. And personally, I think that's a bit too much. Like for me, I'm like, ego.
Yeah.
Why do I say this stuff when we're live streaming? Yeah. But yeah, I think, I don't know, I think the business, it's like, so I met a recruiter once, and I'm not going to say who it is, actually. I was thinking, can I say, but I'm not going to say who it is. And they were like, nice shoes. Okay. And they said, it's like we have little signals, don't we, where we know things we notice about people that kind of, it's the bias thing coming into play.
Nice shoes are your signature, though.
Well, yeah, but only since I had that conversation.
Oh.
I didn't know
and it was I don't think you would have been at that meeting. I know exactly where I was. I know exactly what meeting it was. Like I said, there's several people that were in the room that day, and I'm like, from that day on, I'm like, I'm only going to those meetings wearing nice shoes. It was a conscious thing because of something this person said to me.
Yeah, and I've started to, I don't know whether it's consciously or not, but I've got the Macstaff blue stuff, haven't I? Like I like to have my thing, like it's partly because I'm OCD, but I like to feel like the brand guy, like if I'm being the representative. So yeah. There's another recruiter who goes to the team things as well, and I again won't name, like if she's in the chat, like she can kind of own up, but she'll deliberately wear nice, very colourful cashmere jumpers like to events, and like she appeared like multiple times in the official photos for the Rec Expo last time. I was like, wow, you're popping up everywhere, and she's like, yeah, I stand out in a crowd.
Yeah. I was at a networking thing a couple of weeks, nothing to do with business, actually, more of a personal development, business entrepreneurship kind of thing I was at. And someone there was like, you're always in green. And I'm like, yeah, because even if you don't remember the company name, you'll remember the woman that was in green. You know, and it's like if you keep showing up, keep showing up, and it's like people, they build on that memory. But yeah, so this is not where I expected the conversation to go.
How did we get
I'm
here?
not gonna lie. So Jane, bring us back on track.
Okay, so
next?
one of the other things we'd sort of mentioned, wasn't it, was obviously you're a solo operator, and do you have any strategies and tips for sort of other people in your situation?
Oh wow! And I'm not necessarily the go-to guy for being organised, but it's been quite a ride. Yeah, running my own business, being a solo operator. I suppose one of the decisions, I guess, is is that your thing? Like, is it a lifestyle business? Or is it something that could be scaled? And is there an exit strategy and all that sort of stuff? And I haven't made up my mind, to be perfectly honest. I'm kind of just enjoying the ride and going with the flow. So for that you have to be able to plan and do the and bridge the gap in between, like being in the business and like working on the business, and at the point when you could step away and it'd still continue on itself, sort of thing. But to answer your question, as a solo, then it's there's a lot of balls to juggle, and that plates to spin thing again. So you do have to be structured and organized and consistent to a fair extent. So do a little bit of everything so that something doesn't just completely fall on the floor. And that's the challenge with the marketing, isn't it? That it's all well and good, like making nice, like pretty pictures and videos and things when workload is low, but it's soon going to fall off the front burner when you get busy, and then you're left with trying to pick up the pieces of that a few months later when you get quiet again. It's trying to relaunch it, and that kind of looks kind of a bit fake then, doesn't it? So yeah, having some structure, that's in your day and your week and your year as well. And that's my kind of worst thing. Like I kind of love a little bit of disorganization, really, a little bit of chaos, but it can't be scaled and it can't be relied upon, can it? So you do have to, have a word with yourself and kind of be the mature, kind of logical, planning, rational person to complement, your other characteristics of being entrepreneurial and, engaging and, doing things on the spur of the moment and things like that.
So if I was going to guess the answer to the question Jane asked, I would have anticipated you talking about collaboration, because I think if someone asked me about you and your business, that is like, I mean, I've known you for longer, but we've probably sort of had, regular dialogue and that kind of thing, probably about 4 or 5 years. And I think in that time, some of the stuff that I've sort of been aware of you doing it's all been because of your attitude towards collaboration.
Yeah, that's so true. Actually, you probably know me better than I know myself, but that's the thing, isn't it? That's why you need other people to kind of point out, your strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, collaborations, just a really big part of what I do and the why I do it as well. Like I enjoy that, and it kind of rounds things out. So yeah, I'm a member of TEAM, the employment agents movement, and have a lot of partners, like yourselves, that are suppliers to TEAM, and other collaborations with other agency business owners, and that's been a big part of my strategy. It's been a big part of my like results and revenue as well, to be perfectly honest. Like I think I split roughly 50-50 in between other recruitment business owners being my clients, and some and my own direct clients as well. And yeah, if you're going to be a solo operator, it's good to consider doing split fees, but it's definitely important to have a trusted bunch of people and partners around you as well that can tell you the things that you don't know, and help you when you get stuck, because it's like it has its ups and downs. Like it's a tough journey. Like, and if you look at the way the graphs went the last 2 years, that's literally looks like a roller coaster. It flipping felt like one as well. So
absolutely, and I think it's like if you can build those partnerships with people, it certainly if you don't, you're isolated. And
that's a lonely spot.
And I think that's the. And yes, when things are a bit crap and your mindset's not where it should be and all that sort of stuff, you need to rely on those people. But I think especially now, and especially in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, I think we're also conscious of people that have struggled throughout this sort of COVID period. So that actually when you have some wins, you don't want to shout too loud about it, because you're thinking like, oh, you know, who else might I upset with that? Whereas actually, if you've got that little group of people where you go, do you know what, today's been a really good day, and these are the reasons why. And I think we think about having a support network for when we need support, but I think we also need a network for when we've got something to celebrate, so we can actually enjoy enjoy the high points as well as the low points.
Yeah, definitely. So to go all psychologist, it's really good and healthy to verbalize your feelings, isn't it? And there's been everything from euphoria to despair, hasn't there? Like depending on which month or day we're in, like with the Corona coaster people were calling it at the time, weren't they? And it's not over yet.
Absolutely.
I chair the solos call, the solo recruiter call at TEAM as well, and that's a nice collaborative community, like always a well attended call, and that's half of what it's for. Like so sure we have speakers on sometimes, like your good self, like and those are awesome sessions, but so we also need the ones that are more that kind of just networking and camaraderie and peer-to-peer advice and things like that. And it's been priceless for me and Max staff, to be fair, like might have kind of disappeared under the radar long before now otherwise, or kind of forced myself into growth which I wasn't necessarily kind of ready for or hadn't planned for, in order to just have a little huddle, but that's outsourced, and I do loads of split fees and business partnerships. I was interested for international work as well, and I joined MPA worldwide to that end as well, and to a certain extent I've been able to emulate the success of TEAM with them as well, and place some people in Europe and in North America as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, so for those listening that are not in the world of recruitment, MPA Worldwide is, so it's like a membership organisation for recruiters around the globe, but there is sharing of best practice in those like different locations. I think people are still doing like working together on vacancies, that kind of stuff. So it's a really good network to be part of if you want to do something outside of the UK.
Yeah, and I kind of helping kind of break the stereotype of the lone wolf recruiter as well. That it's in the corporate world, you don't get concerned that people are going to stab you in the back, do you? They're going to stab you right in the forehead. It's that competitive. So I kind of like I play nicely with other recruiters. We'll share best practice. We'll give ideas. I'll give freebies of candidates, and we just want each other to do well. And kind of I like that community side of it, and to just change the what do you call it, the stereotype of the recruiter being a not trustworthy person, and we're kind of right up there with estate agents or politicians, aren't we, in terms of esteem.
There is a little bit of an issue these days with social media agencies. It's kind of, and I think especially right now there's a lot of and it's the same in recruitment. There's been this kind of big growth in terms of social media agencies and recruitment agencies popping up, where people have been furloughed or made redundant, whatever, they go, right, I'm going to go start off on my own. And a lot of those people, they're perhaps not in the right position to be selling those services to someone else. They haven't got the breadth of knowledge, they haven't got the breadth of experience. And so we end up back in this cycle. And like I said, I think it's for the first time ever, I really do feel like social media agencies are like double glazing salesmen. And it's really hard, because it's like everyone's waiting for the catch. Everyone's waiting for the false promise, and it just feels a bit tricky at the minute. I mean, I think prior to lockdown, I saw some stats in like February 2020, and it was like there were just under 40,000 recruitment agencies in the UK. I've got no idea what that number is, but I guarantee it's like we've gone above that 40k and drops down again when people realise that it's just not an easy job. And I think we're going to, that social media agencies will see the same thing. There's this big growth in agencies, and then a lot of those will fall away again because they kind of gone like, it's too hard, let's go and get a job instead.
Yeah, it's a good parallel. I hadn't kind of thought of it from your point of view, but yeah, it's a lot of people are starting up on their own, and it's a different skill set, really, isn't it? The kind of the recruitment part, running your desk, is different to running the business, and to try and throw in all the rest of the stuff all at once. Again, you're going to start dropping some, and yeah, but a bunch of these will be kind of here today and gone tomorrow, won't they?
Yeah, I think it's hard when you suddenly find yourself in, like, you were one of a few and all of a sudden you're one of many within a marketplace. I think it always knocks your confidence a little bit, or, you know, there's that like tiny bit of imposter syndrome creeps in. I say a tiny bit because obviously my ego's massive. But you know, it's kind of, you kind of think, oh crap, you know, are we really ahead of the game? Are we really practicing what we preach? Are we, you know, are we everything we believe we are, or have we just kind of like read our own press a little bit too much and started to get caught up in it that way? So I think it's good to have that little bit of competition as well, to just keep you on your toes.
Yeah, but as you say, in marketing, it's all about the kind of journey from, you know, know, like, and trust, isn't it? And how can you kind of speed up or just kind of shore up that process? And, you know, you guys do that in spades. Like, it's very transparent, isn't it? The way that you do things like that, and we can see that you walk the talk. So it's all good.
I mean, just this, to me, it doesn't get any more transparent. This is literally what it's like to work with me.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
This is definitely more restrained.
I said that to someone yesterday. I was recording a podcast yesterday, and we were talking about employer branding. I talked about live lunch, and I said, honestly, I think people probably assume that this is an exaggeration of real life here, but actually, no, it probably is toned down. Yeah, we have a board in the office with phrases of the week and, like, you know, things that people in here have said that just out of context you just think, like, what the hell? I'm not going to say. Oh no, there is one I can share.
There's one that you can say before 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So the phrase was, see if you can build a story around this. Little competition for anyone still hanging in there with us. I look like an extra from Mulan.
Ooh.
That was said yesterday.
I got nothing.
So yeah, just like ridiculous conversations, and it's like someone says something, you're like, what did you just say? So we now have a special board for such things.
Just to get it out there.
Yeah. There were a lot of things on that board last week that will never be out there in public domain. But yeah, this is kind of a toned down version. I just talk crap all day. Those two just sort of sit there and let it go on, and every now and then they sort of just give me that look.
That's why we're at the other end of the office now.
Yeah.
So we can
Pretty
go,
much.
no. Or Jane doesn't even have to look. She can just shake her head now.
Christina doesn't need to see my face either to know my opinion.
I thought of you guys yesterday as well. Like, there was like a marketing kind of truism and a tale. So I don't know whether you can care, but the guy was saying, like, and he's a marketeer, and he'd been speaking to a recruitment business owner, and the business owner had apparently said, you know, if I don't get some return on this in like 3 months, then I'd consider it a fail. And the marketer said, well, you know, maybe, but how did you know to call me? Like, or why did you call me? The business owner was like, oh, I've been following you on LinkedIn for a year, you know, so I kind of reached out to you because of that. And he was like, well, if I'd stopped after 3 months, you know, would you have called me then? He was like, probably not. So, tumbleweed, and you know, it's a slow burn, isn't it, sometimes?
But yeah, it's all about consistency. It's consistency, it's showing up, and it's giving first. You know, that's it. And funny enough, I was on a call yesterday and talking about ROI and marketing. I said, well, what is ROI? You know, what is success? Because, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, we think ROI, we think pounds in the bank. Well, actually, there's a return on interest. You know, people are interested in me, so they ask me to go and speak at an event. You know, there's ROI in the marketing from that perspective. Because actually,
like the brand halo, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's like that's not pounds in the bank, but it's keeping us in business. You know,
marketing paves the way for sales. Like that was a key thing that I kind of really latched onto at the beginning of my business as well. It's you know, marketing eats sales for breakfast, I think was the presentation at the expo one year, like by a Firefish person, and true that.
Yeah. We've Dean's just started with us, and he's sort of doing business development and got some calls. But I was like, you haven't got time to make those calls. We've had these inquiries come in. You need to pick up instead. It's like, yeah, we don't make a lot of sales calls. We haven't got time for it.
Strategy, yeah.
Inbound all day long. Right. Okay. I am. Unless you guys got anything else for Anthony.
Not really. Most of what was on the list we've talked about.
We talked about. Yeah, we did actually plan for once. Shocker. Wanted to make sure we got everything we could out of you. So yeah, I will wrap it up there. So thank you so much for joining us. Where can people contact you? What's the best place?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thanks for having me. I'll do this again if you need. So all the channels, like as people say in marketing, isn't it? Like LinkedIn's a good one. Recruiters are always on there. So got personal and Macstaff company LinkedIn page, Twitter, Facebook, and more recently expanding the kind of the YouTube side as well. So there's Macstaff on YouTube, and we do Macstaff live every month, normally on job seeker topics, like that covered in the job search job done book. But do feel free to, I'll accept all connections. Do feel free to say hi and ask any questions. And thanks for listening.
Amazing. Cool. So that wraps it up. We are done for this week's live lunch. We will be back next Thursday, 12 noon, my LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Jane, have we got a guest next week? I don't think we have. It's back to us. And there's a few things that have happened actually this week. We can dig into a little bit more and chat about next Thursday. And yeah, I hope everyone has an amazing week. We'll do a little wave for the camera. Come on, Anthony, you need to wave. Get the screenshot done for the branding. Have a fantastic week, everyone. We'll see you all soon.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.